Hi guys, I think from previous week we had discussed regarding this Stone Game series, like Stone Game 1, 2, and 3, and so we are planning to continue for the next few problems.
Shashank, if you have discussed, some basic principle, do you mind repeating it for, let's say, for 5 minutes or so? We have a lot many new people joining today.
Sure, it will be repeated here in the problems. Okay. So we'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can start with few problems will be covering like Stone 4 and 5 and 7 will be taking if time permits. Yeah. So let's start with this problem then. 4. So what they are saying that Alice and Bob take turns while playing a game uh, with the Alice starting first, and initially there are n stones in a pile, and on each of the players' turn, that player makes a move consists of removing any non-zero square number of stones in the pile. And if a player cannot make a move, he or she loses the game. So you are given a positive integer and return true if and only if Alice wins the game. Otherwise, you have to return false. And you have to assume that here both the players are playing optimally. So like, let's say n equal to 1, right? So this itself is a square number. So Alice will pick it and nothing will be left for the Bob. So Alice wins the game here. Coming to 2, what Alice can, 2 he can't pick, right? He has only pick option of picking 1 because that's a perfect square. So remaining is 1, which will be picked by your, what do you say, the Bob, and after that Alice will be left with 0. So Bob wins the match and Alice loses. Right? Coming to this, Alice can pick all the 4 at once, so nothing will be left, and Alice won the match. And here, like n equal to 7, if it is, so what are the if 7 is there, so either Alice can pick 1 stone. Okay, let me annotate, that will make more sense. Feel free to chime in if you have any questions or you want to add any points. If 7 stones are there, what are the possibilities Alice can pick? 1 stone, or what is the next bucket? 4. That's it, right? Because after that,
yeah, 1 square or 2 square.
1 square, 2 square, right? And now Bob turns comes, he'll pick this one and 0. And what will happen for this? And again, Bob can pick this correctly, right? So neither this is a good choice for Alice, nor this is a good choice for Alice, because in both the cases he's obtaining 0 and he'll win the match, right?
So Alice can only pick squared numbers.
Exactly, square numbers.
But Bob can pick any numbers.
Oh, I think Bob can also pick square numbers only, right? Only no, both of them have to pick the square number.
See, if for example, if Alice doesn't, Alice can only remove 1 stone, and then Bob removes the last one. So the last one will be what? Will it be 0 or 2 then?
Last one, whosoever removes the last stone, he will be the winner, because after that 0 is there, right? No more stones are there to be removed.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 will become 1 minus 1 square, and then again 1 minus 1 square, I think. So Bob wins.
Mm-hmm. Therefore, Alice loses the match.
So both will always pick up the squared numbers, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, we have this bot again, I think.
Yeah, they are practicing drawing actually. I don't know who is FF. FF is there.
All this thing yesterday.
Yeah, don't kick me out, okay? I'm not the bot.
Yes, Hassan, can you enable who is doing all this thing? You can see.
FF, I can see that.
2 FF are there.
Let's remove 2 FFs.
Oh, somebody can block these 2 people.
Okay, I think. Wait.
Host can block.
One
these
FF said he's not a bot, he or she.
Yeah, maybe you can rename yourself, whoever is not FF.
Yeah.
Also, last time when this happened, I think there was an option to disable them from annotation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you
you
disable,
can disable annotation, but anybody want to express how to write, then it is a problem, right?
So they could become host then. Just for
Then ask this the FF to change his name.
okay, there is one FF saying, no, I am not the bot.
Yeah, the FF should change. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool.
Okay, then block other person.
I think there is now only one.
Yeah, I feel this bot is becoming smarter. It takes the shortest string of names, display names somehow.
Yeah,
Yesterday, I
he
think
keep on
my name was
displaying
picked
every time.
because it was shortest.
Yeah, even yesterday I think it was CS.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe a couple of words is
I
showing.
think
I think it's picking
that
the
guy
usernames.
dropped off.
It's picking the usernames and also analysts posing it as users.
Yep,
Exactly.
yep.
Okay, let's move on. So Bob and Alice both are going to pick only squared numbers, right? So
True, yeah.
Alice gets the first turn, therefore it will be the biggest pick for Alice, and we keep doing that to the end, right? Okay.
Biggest pick doesn't guarantee that C will win the match.
Yeah,
There can
that
be
is right. Yeah, but then it will be like picking the biggest number, and then the next biggest for the Bob. So it will continue like that, right? Okay.
Alice will try all the possibilities with all the possible squares, and she'll check which path doesn't. I mean, in which path Bob's lose that part she'll take. Like let's say 17.
Yes, it's
So
like
17
coin change. We can't be
coin-
greedy.
Exactly. So 1 he can pick, or 4 he can pick, or 9 he can pick. Oh, Alice. Okay, Alice I'm taking as well.
Yes, all the coins are square numbers. So
Exactly.
we can't say greedily. We have to try all options and see what happens. If I pick 1, do I win? If I pick 4, do I win?
True. Because if Alice picks here, what do you say? I mean, first he picks, yes, if he picks 1, then for the Bob, what will be left? 16 will be left, right? And Bob might pick the entire thing and he'll win the match, right?
Yeah,
So pick.
yeah.
Right.
So you'll have to try exhaustively try all the possibilities. And
But
then
what if Alice picks the 16?
if you pick 16, then
Bob
Bob
will
left.
win.
Bob will again win because 1 is there, Bob will take the 1. So these two paths Alice can't pick. Now left is 4 and 9. You'll have to explore these two further.
Okay.
So Alice
So
will
you
never
mean
win.
like whatever the number they gave, do we need to find if it is sum of the square numbers, right? Like odd square numbers or something.
Odd.
See, for example, 16, right? We can write it as 17, right? We can write it as 1 plus 16, right? So this is like only like 2 square numbers. So this is like even, right? In that case, the other Bob wins.
But
If you
that
can write
wait,
the same number
wait.
as odd, then
What if
Alice
we pick
wins.
4? Does
What
Bob
do you-
win if we pick 4?
Is it some kind of we can try all the number and which?
I think we have to try
make it
all
or.
because
Yeah,
even if it
make
can be
it
broken
or.
into 16 or 1, if we pick 4, it becomes 13. 13, if we see, then again, many options.
13, then 9 is there. He can pick 9 or he can pick 4
Right.
or he can pick 1. Again, further you'll have to go down.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I mean that's one of the case.
Fine.
What you think that I mean 16 square plus 1, but that won't be the case always.
Mhm. So you
what
are
do you-
saying that even if Alice picks the highest square, still,
Doesn't guarantee.
yeah, it doesn't guarantee the win. Correct. So therefore, you have to explore. So there might be a test case designed in such a way that it will fail Alice, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So you'll have to do for all. Okay, I agree. So
Hmm.
then, what will be the best way to do?
So
We
based
can do
on-
Try all
like
options.
the DP and memorization problem looks like. Okay, so I think same thing getting repeated, right?
Exactly.
So,
16.
yeah, so you can do for DP and memorization this thing. The memorization of power of power of the number you can do, and whenever that is whether it is a success or fail means it is valid to win or fail, win or lose, and keep it. Whether Bob is a pick up for 4, also he also win or not, that we can pick up like that. But Alex also pick up 4, it win or lose we can pick up. Just we make win thing we can keep it like that. So whenever Bob is come to 4, already 4 already used, you win or fail, we can return it directly without processing further.
True. That makes sense. So basically, every time you pick the number minus whatever number has been picked, where you do and check what is its previous state.
Yes,
Depend-
yes.
And just memorize it, right?
Mhm.
So it's a I'll just share the code of
That is the way or any other approach?
I have only this one. If someone have any other approach, go ahead.
You have not do memorization, right?
I've done a cache. Are you cache?
Oh, okay. LRU cache, okay.
Yeah, so we are going from 1 till the square root of that number, right? And just
Right.
big direct number. So remaining, what will happen? Whatever the current state minus that square you do, right?
Yeah.
That opponent player, and that is false. That means the current player will win. Right? If Bob loses, that means Alice will win. Otherwise, it will be false.
Hmm.
Okay, can't hear you, Shank. Sorry. Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're audible now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, anyone has any other solution apart from this or wants to share anything?
But first of all, is this clear? Do you want to walk through a couple of examples?
Sure, we can do it. No problem.
Yeah.
So what we can do, let's say.
You take a better example, maybe a bigger one, like 17 or so. Okay, let's take 7. Fine.
7
Mhm.
So in 7, what will happen? We'll walk from 1 to the square root. What is the square root of 7? 7 square root will be your 2 to the 4, right? 2.3, right? Fine. Now we are walking. Now initially everything will be.
Shashank is not very audible to me, at least. Are you guys able to?
Yes, it's little feeble.
Am I audible? Am I audible now?
There is some background noise, like some kind of disturbance. I don't know if it's connection or something else. Maybe your machine fan, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, it's not from my side, I think. Is it from my side?
Please,
let me-
can you all unmute yourself? Only Shashank, let's speak and unmute himself. So let's see where the noise comes from.
Rishabh. Yeah, now it's fine, right?
Yeah, it's good. Okay, go ahead, Shashank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was some mute. Yeah. Okay, so we are walking. Okay, let's say, let me fill how many zeros? 3, 4. You can have 5, 6, and then 7. Okay. Now we are walking from, what do you say, 1 second, from 1 till the square root of a number. So initially your state is 7. So what will happen? It's audible. Voice is audible, right? I'm disturbing.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yes,
You go
yes,
ahead,
yes.
Yeah. So first state, what will happen? Initially, when you will take 1, I mean, if it is 0, we are treating it as a false itself. You can treat it as a false, like that's a base case kind of I'm taking. And now what you will do, whatever, let's say Alice chance comes, now he picks 1. If he picks 1, 7 minus 1 is what? 6. Right? Let me number this index as this is your 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So 7 minus 1 is 6, and initially let's fill everything. 0, I mean that all are false. This is your F. For 2, for 3 also F. For 4 it's F. For 5 also it's F, and for 6 F. Yeah. So 7 minus 6, it will be 6, right? Now you have to check whether this DP table at the 6th index, what you're having, right? Whether it's false or true. So if you check at the 6th index, it's false, right? So if it's false, then at ith index, I'll mark it as true as of now. At 1th index, I'll mark it as true. Fine. Now let's go. 2 you can't take, right? Sorry, 2 if you take, what will happen? 2 2s are 4. So 7 minus 4 will be 3, Now it will check at third index what it is. It's false. So if it is false, then at second index we'll put true.
Wow, I didn't get it. Why we are putting true here?
Because the other will fail in that case, right?
Okay, got it. Okay, okay.
From Alice perspective, we are taking. Now 1, 2 we have taken, 3 we can't take it, right? Because if you take 3 in that case, what will happen? This will be negative. I mean, it will be your
It
negation,
will go to
right?
negative.
So this is the index that you can pick, and which is what do you say?
But why do we need 6 states here? I mean, an array of size 6, because like you can just
Only a-
have it till the square root, right? Seal of the square root. Yeah.
Up to 3 you'll have. And this state will return you the false for this. At the third state.
Yeah,
We haven't touched it here.
yeah, right.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
I wrote a very similar code, just with some different style.
Yeah, share it.
So first I have a function do I win. It tells whether I win. If n is 0, I have nothing to pick up. So of course I have lost. And let's try all the squares for all the squares. If I have forced my opponent to lose, so after I pick up the square number of pieces, my opponent is left with n minus square. So he was not able to win. So that means he lost. I forced him to lose, so I won. So it returned true directly. Otherwise, try the next square. If I did not find any way to make opponent lose, return false. It's the same code. I would say it's just different names. And this is there, like, whose turn is it? Is it Alice now? Then you just flip this bit true false. It's actually not necessary. So just n. Do I win? Does the player with n at the piles, does he win? If the opponent at n minus square is able to lose, right? If this is false, if he is able to force the opponent to lose, like the opponent is not able to win when he has such remaining piles. One base case is 0. If you have 0 piles, 0 stones, you cannot win. You have nothing to pick up. If you force your opponent to lose, you have won. Otherwise, try the next square, next square, next square. And if you couldn't force the opponent to lose, you have lost.
So in this case also, you are actually taking Alice turns from 1, is it?
Yes.
And then Zoa
Can
operation.
you? Mhm. Can we do it from the back side? So, you don't have to go into many of the recursive calls.
I don't know whether it will make a difference because we cannot figure where the optimal lies. But yeah, we could start backwards.
That will be more dedicated path if we go from back, right? Not more of recursion calls we'll have to make. I think that's a good point.
Wait. You mean this checking the squares from backwards?
Yeah. Like we
Okay,
assume that.
Is it possible?
Yeah, we have to find out the square root n.
The perfect square, right? Yeah. That will be another problem, right? Okay.
Square root n whole square. I think so. Or just n plus 1 to be
Seal
safe.
of it. Yeah, the seal of it.
Yeah. And we'll return if it's n is negative, we can return as well.
Yeah, that's fine.
This should work here. Yeah, so shall we?
I think so. Yeah. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
don't
it
worry,
will
no,
work.
no. Yeah, you can try that later. I just
I'll have to
added
put 0
something.
over there. Yeah.
Oh, it worked. Very good.
Yep. The negative number I think I'll get because of
Yeah.
this. So I have to handle the negative number as well. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, it
so
worked.
that will
No
be-
need. No need.
It worked. Okay.
Okay. Oh, wait. This above one is working. Sorry. I'll check this.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so because this is like a DP top down, we will have a bottom up also in this case, right?
True.
Yeah, actually, you can
Correct.
use bottom up itself instead of.
I would
yeah.
say that here it gets no advantage of bottom up because we cannot reduce the space except the stack space, which is also of n only. Because here n depends not only on n minus 1, but
You
n
don't
minus
need
all
n,
the
right? You don't need n. You can use the square root of n, C log square root of n.
Yeah.
Because
Because
Oh,
that's
yeah.
yeah, you're going to store only till that number, right?
Right.
Hmm.
Okay, I don't know backwards.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we can discuss that later. Okay.
then we can take, right? Yeah, this one. This is your stone game 5. So here they are saying that there are several stones arranged in a row, and each stone has an associated value, which is an integer given in the array store value. And in each of the round, Alice divides the row into 2 non-empty rows, left row and right row. And then Bob calculates the value of each row, which is the sum of all the values of all the stones in this row. And Bob throws away the stones, which has maximum value, and Alice's score increases by the value of the remaining row. And if the value of the 2 rows are equal, Bob lets Alice decide which row will be thrown away. Okay, Bob lets Alice decide which row will be thrown away, and the next round starts with the remaining row. Meaning in the chat or what? Okay, the game ends when there is only 1 stone remaining. Alice initially is 0, return the maximum score that the Alice can give. So here what you can see, let me annotate it. So what the problem says, like, let's say these are the stones, right? 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So let's say Alice started. So first he'll make one split at this point. This is one possibility. So here your score is 6 and this score is what? 3, 2, 5, 15, 19, right? 19, okay. So
I have named for 14. Yeah, 19.
So the max score will always be deleted, right? And this score will be considered as Alice one. Next split can be made at like this: 6, 2 in one partition, and remaining will be 3, 4, 5, 5. So here this is your 8, and this will be your 17, right? Again, this max score will be deleted, and this will be considered as the Alice score. Third split will be at this point, this point. So this point, if what it will be then? 6, 2.
6 plus 9, 11.
11.
11 left. Right is 14.
14. So this will again be removed because that's the highest score, right?
Mhm.
And further, what you have, if you take 4 this side, so 4, 3, 7, 2, 9, 15 you'll have, right? 3, 2,
15 and 10.
You'll have 15 and 10.
In 10.
15 and this time this score will be removed because of the
So
greater.
can eliminate 15 like that. Okay, okay.
Highest, whosoever highest score is, that score is eliminated and remaining point is given to that player. I mean, Alice will get this point.
So here 11 will get, right? Finally.
This is not 11, 10 is there, right? For this.
Yeah, how are they getting 18? The output?
18, I haven't mentioned 18 where?
It's in the output. Like their output, they're
Example
getting
1.
18.
Oh, I
Yeah,
haven't decided.
example one.
This is the first tree I'm saying, first possibility I'm saying.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
again, further this will break for the Bob. Again, Bob will, whatever elements are there, Bob will pick one element and remaining will break into another parts. That tree structure will have again. You got the point. Like what I meant to say, okay, let me just
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
you here.
I got it.
6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So Alice has these many possibilities: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, let's say this score got. This score will again further be divided by the Bob into those many chunks, right? And again, this score will go to the Alice. And at last, whosoever, when one stone is left, so whatever the max score will recursively return to the top. I mean, will keep on popping. What do you say? Bubbling up to the top of the root, which will decide that who has the maximum value.
So out of those values, what you had and what you had removed, the larger ones, the smaller ones, out of that, the maximum you are going to return.
Exactly.
Okay.
So here what we can see, I mean, the recurrence, what you can see. One, you can have a prefix sum of this, right? Because why prefix sum? If I get the prefix sum and if I subtract from the beginning, you can go get the score for the next slot, right?
Right,
I mean, so prefix. So if I subtract say 6, you can easily get 19 out of it. Next time I'll subtract 6 plus 2, you'll get whatever score is remaining. So if you are at ith index, for the next call is will go from, this up, you'll in your prefix sum, let's say if this is your prefix sum, till I you will subtract, and whatever score you get, that will be passed for the next call. And now whether left or right is greater, whichever is smaller you cancel that, whichever is larger you cancel that, and remaining you pass for the next call. I think code will make more sense. Or anyone has any queries here? Okay, let's go.
Actually, I have a question. How is it related to min-max? I mean, how is it game theory? Isn't it just straightforward dynamic programming?
No, but max score we are passing to the bottom, right?
Yeah. So we can just do all the possibilities, like split every possible way and split it into sub problems. Like if I partition at the after the 6, I will be removing the right part, and I'll just recursively checking if 6 is just the one element, just return that. Just don't do anything further. If it is 2 parts, like I partitioned after 2, I will have one sub problem to solve for 6,2, where I'll be getting 2.
Out of these two scores, you are comparing who is maximum out of this, and then out of that max, isn't it? I mean, left and right you are comparing, isn't it?
Okay.
And then you are maximum.
So it's basically first you determine the smallest out of the maximum, right? Smallest maximum.
And then you pass it for the next.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can do that recursively, right?
Yes, recursively, yes. And then you can memorize it, because if you draw the whole tree, you'll find some of the problems which are already being seen.
Yeah.
I think this is the valid score they are showing. 6 to 3 is one such partition, and this is this, right? The left row has a value of 11 and right row has a value of 14. Bob throws always the right row because this is bigger value, right? And now Alice will have the score of 11. Now in the second round, like these two, I mean, this will be passed for the next for the lower, like for the next player. Now next player will have again 6 and 2, 3. Then who is maximum? 6 is maximum, right? So it will be thrown away, and 5 will be passed for the Alice again, and so on and so forth. Every time the score will be added. So out of the whatever maximum score, minimum is passed to the bottom. I'll show you the code. Yeah. So this is just a prefix sum I'm creating of the n+1 elements. I mean, I'm populating my prefix array for this. And this
So
for the
every
base.
time you are creating prefix sum, right?
One time you need to create every time.
Got it.
Now this is one such base case. If you are left with only single stone, then 0 score will be returned. I think they have told somewhere. Yeah, the game ends when there is only 1 stone remaining. Alice. The game ends when there is only 1 stone remaining. Okay. Now we are calling a DP function. In DP function, we are passing initial index and the last index of your array, right? And now based on the given index, you calculate the left score and your right score. This one. And now you compare. If left is less than equal to right, that means right has to be thrown, right? That's why this for the next call, what will happen? I to M is passed plus whatever the minimum score was, that is added to this. And if your left is greater, then left will be thrown and right will be passed to the bottom for the next player. So M+1 to J, and the right score is added to it because right is lesser. And you keep on updating your res. I just return this.
Yeah,
it's a DP on tree problem, right?
The same as the earlier problem, little bit different, right?
Different, yeah.
What is M here?
M, where
M
is
is the
M?
range.
Range is
What's the index from 1
The
to
values from that.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we can do this without building the prefix also, right? Since we are traversing the whole M, from I to J, we can just traverse from I to J, get the whole sum. And the left part would be like we keep a variable which has the running sum from I to M, and the right part has a value total sum minus the running sum.
We don't
Yeah,
know the
but
total
that
sum
would
right
take
now.
O of n
But this is
squared.
recursive
That would
call,
take
right?
O of n squared. That's why.
Yeah,
it
because
would
we don't have
take-
total
That would
sum.
take extra time.
We don't have total sum. Yeah.
what we'll do before the line 13, we'll for every m in the range from I to j, we'll store it in some variable, say sum. Okay. Before the line 13, after line 12, we do that one
Right.
for loop, and after that, in the other for loop for m, we'll do the same thing, except this time there'll be some other variable, say running sum. The prefix from till m plus 1 minus prefix of I, the left part would be just the running sum, and the right part would be the sum we just calculated in the for loop we just did above, minus the running sum.
But we are using recursive calls.
Yeah,
no?
but it will be little
Okay,
slower,
okay.
right? Because
It
every
will be-
time
no,
you're
no.
calling it.
No, it
I
won't.
don't think the
If he is
the
maintaining total sum,
yeah.
you'll have to just like keep a parameter or pass it somehow that the total sum between I and j is this.
So I think that will have the same complexity.
Yeah,
Maybe
Yeah,
it
but
will have
that
the
is much
same
more complex to
factor.
code. Total sum between I and j, you'll have to cache that as well. Because total sum that you're mentioning, you need, right, to subtract.
No, I
for
think
getting
you're not getting what I'm trying to say. We don't have to cache it. We can calculate it every time with a complexity of O of m, but we won't that O of m, the
Wait,
for
wait.
loop won't be nested
Wait,
inside the.
Okay, I got how we'll get left. Okay, we'll keep a running sum to get left.
Yeah.
But how will we get right?
Right is just
From
the
the-
total range
yeah.
minus the left.
Wait. How are you getting total? Total for each range is different, right? For I, comma j.
We can calculate the total for every range in for O of m, where the m is j minus I plus 1. That is the same thing we are doing in the for loop in the line 13.
So he's telling to calculate the total sum between I to j at this place, right?
Yeah,
And
before the line.
Okay,
before line
before
13.
this. Before
Yeah.
this.
rather
Got
than
it,
doing
got
it
it.
same total sum, it's okay. Yeah, that is.
But there is some same complexity, but some more.
Yeah, it might have a different constant factor.
Yeah. Nice idea. I was
Yeah, it
also
won't
thinking
require
that
extra
since
space
we are
as well.
finding left and right, so we could pass along with the I and j the total sum.
Yeah, but in this case, in my case, it will take less space, less extra space. And if you are building the prefix array, it will be taking some O of length of the array as extra space. Even though it won't change the space
No, I
complexity.
could not follow how left part. Okay, that is fine. With through iteration, we'll get it. We added
Okay.
some line 14.
Shashank, can you
But-
just type what I'm trying to say after the line number 12?
Okay, wait. But you want to share this? Yeah, after line number 12.
Yeah. I'm not good with Python, so if I'm saying wrong, please correct it. For every m in range from make a variable total sum. First, make a variable. Initialize it with 0. Yeah, for every m in range from I to j. From I to j, total sum is total sum plus whatever the array is.
Shashank, don't use I. The interpreter
Yeah.
will get confused.
Use some other variable, any variable, k or anything. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the whatever the array was, a of
A.
yeah.
A of m.
Yeah. Now
Yeah,
I have the
n.
I have the total sum,
N,
and over there a of n.
N.
Yeah. Now I have the total sum, and it is not nested inside the m loop, so it will have the same complexity as the m loop. So now instead of left, I can put a running sum and you can make a variable running sum in the next line. Initialize it with 0 also.
Here you are saying?
No,
outside the-
initialize it before the for loop of the m.
You're talking about creating another loop, right?
Yeah.
For the right side.
Yeah. So we have a running sum which is 0, and a running sum is every time the running sum plus inside the for loop for the m below in line number 19.
Okay.
Running sum is running sum plus a of m.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now left is running sum,
M,
and my
M.
right is total. Yeah, over here it's m.
Yeah.
And now my left is running sum, and my right is total sum minus running sum.
So left sum is equal to your.
No, you make it left directly now.
You can just make it left.
Yeah.
And just
then-
remove the line number 23 and 24.
Just
I
comment
think
it
it-
for time being. Mhm.
So left is equal to running
You
sum.
have C++ code, right?
Sorry.
You have C++ code, right?
I haven't implemented it. I just thought after seeing this solution.
Okay, no problem. Let's go through what it
Yes,
says.
yes. Got
Yeah.
it.
In the next line, just right is equal to total sum minus running sum. Right is equal to total sum minus running sum.
It's very interesting approach, but you
Now-
are again and again between every range you're going to be calculating this.
But it will, which is we are anyways going through the range, right? For every
No,
M,
no,
we are-
yeah, we are going, but on line 14, right? You're going.
Yeah.
So now your total time complexity is n square plus n square instead of
No,
just
no,
n
no,
square
yeah.
plus n.
No, no, it is.
No, it
It
won't
is.
be n squared. It won't be.
It
Okay,
will be
let's
same
let
complexity.
Wait,
let's
sir.
go through that first. Okay, can
Can
you
you just
comment
comment,
24, 25?
Yeah,
Shashank?
the
Okay, got your point. Okay.
The work
Yeah.
you are doing
But,
on line 15, right? That work was done initially in O of n in one pass.
Yeah,
Now for
okay.
every function
Let's
call,
try
you are
to
doing that
combine.
work.
no, it will
Okay.
work. I understood.
I think it will
logic.
work.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
will work.
let's try
It
to
will have the same
combine.
complexity, and I think it will pass.
Why invalid syntax is there?
Yeah.
Res equal to 0 or min.
But this will take more time. Okay, this will
I
work
don't think
more.
that will take significantly more time. It might be
Significant.
It will take more time because we're passing it many times. That's the reason.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. You are going over the same element every time for every range. For every range, you are adding one more for loop. So this total sum plus equal to line.
But okay, there
Instead,
is
it would get
something.
executed.
No, there is something to resolve again. Maybe something
I
missing
think
here, right? Mhm.
we need
It
to.
will be not take much time because of the length of the array is 500. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why it will be work
Yes,
for
yes.
you.
Also,
but
Fine.
it will
Let's
be-
running
see if
sum
it can
should
work.
be incremented on line 22 because m is equal to I for first iteration, left half is empty. Is it so?
I think there's something with inclusiveness of INJ, I guess.
So how is
Running sum put on line 22 and try. Put running sum plus equal to on line 22.
29.
Put
Yeah,
line
this-
number 19 on 22.
Put line number 19.
He wants you to actually take the running sum from that location and put after
Yeah.
that, right? Yeah.
We will update the running sum later.
Yeah,
Update
you can put on 23, 22 anyway.
After the right equal to total sum
After
minus running
the
sum.
yeah, just write the same running sum thing over there.
where I didn't get
Line
This
22.
22, line number 22.
No, not there. Line 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shall I run?
Again, run. Okay.
That is
So
not
let's
very-
do one thing. Why don't you actually code your solution and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
share in the Discord? That will be helpful
Yeah,
for
that
others,
will be
right?
Yeah,
best.
sure.
Yeah, no problem. But that is also a good approach. But yeah, actually, what Shashank is doing, can we actually really walk through whatever his original code was with an example? Then things will be much clear. Because now the two approaches are actually confusing me.
Yeah, sure. I think
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, can we just go with the first approach, what you did? For example, 1. Okay.
this is my
And yeah, just your original code, whatever it was.
so this is your prefix sum.
Okay, let us make that. Okay, you can print it. That is also fine.
Then you don't need to write much.
No problem. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so this is your prefix sum. Let's copy this. Now this is the base case, so you don't need to do anything. This total sum, I think, is a new one, right? It was not there earlier. Okay. Now you walk from initially 0 to n minus 1 is passed, so the length of the array will be passed. What is your INJ? Whatever your prefix sum. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 0 to 6. Yeah. Now left sum will be what? Prefix sum of
0
m
to
plus
5,
1.
no? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Size is
2,
5, no? Oh, this one. Okay, sorry. Okay, the prefix one you are saying.
No, I'm passing this only 0 to n minus 1. Then it will be 5 only. 2 to 4 to 6. Yeah, 5 will be correct.
Okay, it should be 0 to 5. And then
Now your left is what? Prefix sum of m plus 1. So m plus 1 is prefix of I plus 1. Initially I is your 0, right? So it will, okay, let me copy it here itself. Here it's fine, right?
okay.
So what will be your left? M plus 1 is 0 plus 1 6. You have 6 minus 0. 6 minus 0 will be 0. So your left will be 6, right? And right will be your whatever the total sum of the area. I mean, minus
25.
5 it will be.
25
It will
minus 6, right?
It will be 19. Fine.
Uh-huh.
19, right. Now left is less than equal to right. So this is your left, right. So this won't execute. This will execute. So it, for the next call, till now res is 0, and for the next call it will go from I to M, right? And your I is what? 0 to 5, and that score of 6 will be added to this. Now again for the next time, your I and J will be I hasn't changed till now, right?
Well, M is not 0, no? In that case, M is 1, no?
I is 0, no.
Okay.
So now you took single element. Now we will take double element, right? I mean 6 we took. Now we'll take 6 and 8, and this will be passed for the next call, right? Because your M will increase now. 0 to 1 it will go. I think I is 0, right?
Okay, yeah. So you are trying to divide between the left and right subarrays.
Initially I was 0.
Yeah, M will be actually starting with M will be 0 initially, right? So and this will be dp of I will be 0, 0, and then plus 6, because then it will like come out quickly, right? Then it will further increase later on.
This will return a value.
Yeah.
Both I and J are same, right? If both I and J, then it will return a value of 0. So 6 you got for this. Till now your rest is 6. So this 0 got updated to 6. Now next time I will be 1. M will be 1 to whatever. This phase will go, right? So if this phase will go, so here you'll have your left sum as what? M is what here?
M is 1, it will be 2, right? So it will be 8 and 16, 8 and 6 will be 14, right? And then 14 and the rest of 25 minus 14. 11 will be 14, yeah. And this will be 11. And now in this case, you are going to go to the right side.
So here again your rest is till now what is it? 6 it was, right? And M plus 1 to J. M is what?
M now is going to be 2 in this case.
0, 1.
You are 1, 2, 2, whatever that last will be 5. Yeah, okay. No worries, yeah.
Whatever score you got here the score was 6. And again,
that will be 11, right? In this case, instead of 6, we'll be adding 11. Okay.
Again, for 2 and 5, again recursively it will go on.
Yeah, so for that tree, you'll find out what is the best and optimal version. So whatever the max value will come out and it will be assigned to the rest value. Okay, yeah, I got the whole thing, because if you go again, it will be a big thing to do, right? Yeah.
Tree will be the better option to view the output, right?
I have one doubt. It says when the sum of the both halves is equal, Bob lets the Alice decide which one they want. So shouldn't we put another if condition? If the sum is equal, we need to calculate the both of them separately and then take the maximum of both of those.
So his less than equal to and greater than equal to. So for equal to, both his statements are getting executed. So he's done some smart move there.
Yeah.
Instead of else if and all. This is very similar to that classic problem of 3 and 5, where you print that fizz buzz.
Yeah, I got it.
This is really well done. Okay, yeah.
Normally, just a question I have. How is min-max different from DP?
Well, actually, first of all, he's not really talking about min-max. Okay, he's just taking some stone game DP problems. I think most of them can be solved with DP. Some of them can be done with greedy, but it happened that a couple of them actually are referring to some of the min-max, right? But it is really not a min-max, I would say. But you can imagine in some cases, yeah, it might matter.
I think the
Exactly.
min-max is different in the sense that both the players have some knowledge. They are like they will try to take optimal thing for both of them. In DP, we
Exactly.
have to just brute force everything, but over there we need to consider that what will they do optimally.
Yeah, so I
Here,
think the
I
first
think the case
problem
when
is
it's
like that.
equal.
It's the
When
first
it's
problem.
equal, you have to make a choice, right? So
Hmm.
Alice is
Yeah,
choosing the max.
Min-max
I
is
think that's
nothing
all.
but always a suffix DP. Is that assumption correct?
Suffix DP also.
Depends on how you're picking those files, right?
Because
Sometimes not.
in every min-max, the true winner will be always defined by the leaves, right? Leaf nodes. And from there we build the upper nodes, right? No?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, top-down approach you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Because so a player plays and he doesn't know that his move leads to win or loss. Only when he comes to the leaf of that choices, then he knows that he can win or lose. Based on the value, the above, the other person would take choices and other stuff, right? So I feel like it's kind of a suffix DP.
Maybe.
But
or maybe a segmentary also, right? Then in that case, if it can be a suffix DP.
Suffix DP, that means you are starting from right side of the array, right?
I mean, we compute the lowest node and then compute the layers above from there and see if anyone can win out of it.
So that is what we are doing here, right? We are.
Yeah, that is what.
Yeah, that is what he is explaining. Yeah.
Keep on breaking. If he wins, reverse of this result is getting propagated right to the root,
So
to the parent.
among the leaves, you select the best based on whether it's min or max. And again, from that leaves, the above level will be decided based on min or max. So every level is basically either min or max. So, I mean to say either player 1 or player 2. But I have read that min-max is little more than DP when we do alpha beta pruning, where we don't even calculate. It's like a branch and bound, where if the bound is, if you know a bound and there is something that bound tells you that, okay, even if you go this path, the bound will be more than this, so better not to go this path. But DP goes to that path, calculates it, but next time it won't calculate it. It uses the memory one.
Also, in the previous question of squares, as soon as we see a square that can make the opponent lose, we return true. So we don't check all the parts.
Yeah.
As soon as the DFS is false for the opponent, return true. So we don't check all the squares. So there is a kind of early exit, but yeah, it's not in the sense that we don't go down. As soon as we reach the correct subtree, we've returned true.
Yeah, but in DP, we calculate that tree and then we just say, okay, next time when we are going calculating it, we just don't calculate, we just give it back from the memory that we have.
But here,
But
so for
branch
example,
and
if
bound is we
using
just
one
eliminate that going that branch itself.
Yes. If using one is, we can win by picking one stone. We don't calculate for 4 stones. It will directly return true. Even here we have an early exit.
Okay.
Like on line 10, it will stop us from checking for 4 and 9 if one is true. But I get what you're saying. It's a little different. We are still going to do some enumeration where there it's like you stop, you don't go to the lower level. Here, if the lower level is allowing me to win, I just say that I can win. Because I don't want the maximum winnings here. I just want true false. I think if it was maximum difference, then I would not have got early exit.
Yeah, but here also, even if you start with lower, you still do a DFS traversal till the end, no?
Not if you find a state which lets you win.
No, but you go till the
Yeah,
bottom.
but you
then
still have to go to the
Yes, you have to
some
go to the
extent,
bottom.
correct?
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Therefore,
Because
I
you
would
don't-
say you cannot actually compare that with the min-max. So some part it might be, but it is more of a stone game
Not
series, right? Yeah. If they are using it, it's good. If they are not using it, still fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Then
min max is nothing but that branch and bound approach where you have a bound, and if you have more than that, you never go to the next bound, because we always know that okay, we have achieved minimum than this, and going by this branch, we know for sure that we are not going to achieve that, so we are never going to that branch at all.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Do we have any problems like that in any of those?
No, I was only conceptual in this. I wanted like, so okay, so I thought like, okay, in min max I could get that insight more. So I was trying to see, yeah.
we have those water jug problems. Like jugs are there, water. I don't recall.
Okay. 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 Maybe we can actually explore more and see if we can find something, and then next time we can come back. Okay.
Yeah. So these are last 7 problems. 6 we have already done in our lead code session, right? So 7 this is. So Alice and Bob takes the turn playing the game with Alice starting the first, and there are ends arranged in a row, and on each player's turn they can remove either the leftmost stone or the rightmost stone from the row and receive the point equal to some of the remaining stones value in the row. The winner is the one with higher score when there are no stones left to remove. And Bob found that he will always lose his game. A poor Bob, he always loses. So he decided to minimize the scores difference, and Ali's goal is to maximize the difference in the score. Okay. And now you are given an array of integers where stones of I represent the value of that stone from the left and return the difference in Alice and Bob's score if they play optimally. Yeah, so this is again similar. So I think what they are saying, let's say Alice picked this stone, right? Either he can pick from here or he can pick from this side. So if he picks from this side, then this is the score what he will get, right? After removing that. They can remove either the leftmost, rightmost from this and receive points equal to the sum of the following remaining stones in the row, right? In the example, they have shown that he is removing from the left. So if he removes 2, then this is the score that Alice will get, and Bob will have 0, right? Alice got 13 and Bob will got 0. Now in the next iteration, 2 is already removed. Now Bob chance comes. Bob can either pick this one or this stone, 4, right? So if he picks 5, then this score will be allotted to the Bob. So 4, 3, 7 plus 1, 8. Fine.
Okay.
Now at this point of time, Alice has 13 and Bob has 8. And the number of stones left is 314. Now let's say if Alice move, a greedy will not work because you can see he could have picked 4, but he's picking 3 over here, right? Now Alice again picks 3. So the score allotted to Alice will be 4 plus 1, 5. So already 13 was the score of Alice, plus 5 you added, and 18 it became. And score for the Bob is still 8, and the stones remaining is 1 and 4. And again, what will happen? Bob will remove 1 and get 4 points. So if the previous point was 8 plus 4, Bob got 12. By that time, stone is over, and finally the difference in their score is 18 minus 12 is 6. This is clear, this example, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to minimize the difference or maximize the difference?
Given an array of integers, return the difference in Alice and Bob's if they play. That means minimal only, right?
Minimal,
Both
okay.
So it will maximize difference, right?
No, minimize difference, no, because both of them are playing optimally, right? So both of them will try to get more scores. So this is again recursively, right? Let's draw the branch. So if it is like 5, 3, 1, 4, and 2. So there are 2 branches at this point, right? One will be like if he picks 5, then this score will be allotted to the Alice, right? And if he picks 2, then this score will be allotted to the Alice. Now for the next call, the stones left will be 3, 1, 4, and 2, right? Again, if
Okay, it's like picking the first coin or the last coin and choosing the best, right?
Best, no, best in the sense, yeah, you have to choose the best because one will try to minimize the score, other is trying to maximize the score.
So we can actually check. Let's say we pick the last coin, and we have to automatically remove the best coin from our count, right?
You picked the
Let's say we pick 5, okay, and there is 3, 1, 4, 2. So we should exclude 3 and not 2 because he is going to pick 3.
okay, because for opponent it will be less score. That's why you will try to remove 3, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we should build a table from that, right? Like you subtract the second highest, which is there in the first and the last from the next
Score and then.
Hmm.
But I think we still have to go explore all the possibilities, right?
That's what I was thinking. He's greedily thinking that this will not, that he'll pick this one, but this may not work always.
So I think whatever the other stone game was, we could pick from the left or right. It is slightly similar, but here the score is for the other side, the remaining stones.
No, I'm not greedily thinking. I'm just talking about the memorization as well, like simplifying the DP with the extra step of removing the 3. I mean, removing the one which is maximum from the next part, which is that.
Okay, I'll show you my implementation top down. Yeah, so here again you need to have a prefix sum. Like this is the base case I'm adding 0 to the entire stones. This is a prefix sum, and now prefix sum you'll have to calculate, because again if you pick first stone, then remaining score you can subtract, and what do you say?
Yeah,
we'll go for the next, right? So this is a score function. I'll tell you where it's uses. So what is happening here? Helper, this is helper function I'm calling here, like 0 in the length of the array. If I is greater than 0, that means that's an invalid case, you'll return 0. Otherwise, what you do, if you pick the first from the first beginning, if you pick, what will happen? This I plus 1 to j will go to the next call, right? I mean, you'll have to score, calculate the score. This is the score that you will calculate from here. I mean, if you pick the first element from I plus 1 to the remaining end, that will be the score for Alice. And for the remaining call, what will go from I plus 1 to j, right? This is the case when you pick the stone from the leftmost. And this is the, you pick the rightmost stone, then score will be from I to j minus 1. This function will give you the score for that, and minus I to j minus 1 will pass for the next call to the other. So this is that recurrence.
Yeah.
And out of these two, every time you pick the maximum. Right.
Okay, your score is actually going to the prefix sum array and getting the results, right? Okay.
So mainly these two are the calls. So this score minus the opponent, whatever he plays optimally. And if you pick the end stone, then this is, will go for the subsequent in the next section. Yeah. So any queries here, or anyone wants
So
to
this
share
is a very straightforward DFS or top down, just going through the left as well as the right together and taking the maximum from both of the ends.
Also very speaking, yes.
Yeah, it's very straightforward to even understand and follow. Yeah, the implementation is very straightforward. Good, yeah.
Only this was, that was also simple. I think all these 3 stones were simple, other than stone game 3. That was a little bit complicated.
The greedy one, right?
A DP one, yeah. Last time what we discussed.
He's saying greedy one, correct? So you on?
There's one greedy one, I thought.
Yeah, there is one greedy. Okay.
You can pick from any pile. Also, I can share this stone game 7.
Yeah, good.
So same thing. First I did a prefix sum and a range sum. So these two are like to get the sum between left and right. Now my left-right boundary, if it's greater than 0, no score possible. If I take from left, what is the remaining part here? So if I take the left element, this is the remaining sub problem. If I take from right, what is the suffix? what's the remaining problem? So right -1. And also if it was Alice's turn right now, in the next one, it should flip. It should become not Alice's turn. If I am Alice, I want to add my score to the difference. So whatever range sum is there, remaining part, I add that to the difference that I got from take left. Whatever range sum is there between L to R -1, I add that to the DP difference that I got from taking off from right. And if I'm Bob, I want to minus my sum from the difference. I'm counting that whatever Alice takes is positive, whatever Bob takes is negative. And so I want minimum of these two. Also, we can code it like this. It would be like without taking Alice or Bob in the flag. But then we have to put this condition inside over here only. Like this is the last line of max of these two for Bob. He wants min of these two, right? So I'll simulate Bob's turn over here only in one. This entire line I've pasted over here. Like I am always Alice in this function. So you take from left, what will Bob do? Bob will do this. And then again, it will be my turn. If I take from right, what will Bob do? Bob will do this, minimum of these two. And then return max of this. But I like passing the flag. It has the same complexity and it becomes cleaner. Like if I'm Alice, I maximize. If I'm Bob, I minimize.
Or you can directly subtract the way I was.
Yeah, or directly you can do it.
Yeah.
No, this makes more clear.
This one I'm getting TLE. I tried to implement the same way as Shashank. Prefix sum and then left, right. If less than equal, take max of left. If less than equal, take max of right.
I think he was taking on line 14 prefix of m+1, right? When
I did a 0 padded prefix. Should it matter?
I also padded. Okay, no.
Actually, I tried it without the prefix and it works. The thing I was saying earlier.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it
Can you
gave me the
share?
correct answer. Yeah, sure. Give me a second. What is it? Okay. Yeah, is it visible?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's similar. I did it in C++. I made a function, DPR solved it recursively. I just called the function. The function has 3 parameters, I, j, which is the start and the end of the current subsequence, which sub array, which I'm checking. And I need to pass the array as well. So this is a base condition. If it is equal or greater than I becomes greater than j, we return 0. There is 1 or less than 1 element. And this is the memorization thing. And I made a total variable, like I said before. I just calculated the total sum. I made an answer, which I'll be memorizing it later on. The running sum, I added in the running sum and I partition it. I started from the I, but I don't include the j. If I'm including the j, it becomes something like I'm taking the whole thing. I cannot take the whole thing. I need to make at least one partition. So wherever my I is ending, that is that element has been taken into the left part. So I started from the I. In the first case, it starts from the 0 and it goes till over here. All this part comes in the left part and the remaining thing is in the right part every turn. And I do the same thing. I just do it without the equal to thing, because in C++ it becomes a little messier that way, because if this condition passes, I will have to either keep an if and that all. I just wanted to do this way.
Okay.
So it worked. It gave me around 344 millisecond. I think I can make it faster.
Yeah,
Instead
this
of
is very good score,
declaring,
yeah.
Instead of declaring a global one, I can just do a vector, and with the size, I can make it faster.
But
can you slightly increase your font size?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, please. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, you are taking the left there. You are actually adding that, and then you're something. Yeah, that makes perfectly sense. Okay. Yep, this is also good. Yeah. So you don't have to do an extra prefix sum, and then you can do it on the fly when you're doing it.
True.
Mhm.
Please share this code.
Yeah.
Satsang, please share all your code. What you
Sure, sure.
discussed.
Yeah,
I think
I'll share the
Jan
code.
already shared. Yeah, Jan already shared, I think.
You are asking Bhupendra also, no, to share it?
Yeah, I'll share my code.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I
Cool,
think
yeah.
I'm